That's what I'm saying.
Stop, Timothy. How you? Stop, Timothy. How you?
You gotta hit that Dante's boxing.
Hi, I'm Brianna, and you're watching Dante's Boxing Nation.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So 2015 continues to prove over and over that it is the best year in boxing, and I don't know, man, probably a good 20 years. I mean, the fights that we have had back to back to back, and now, close to the end of the year, we have another great fight, which is Tim Bradley versus Bradley-Rios, which will be in Las Vegas, Nevada at the Thomas & Mack Center, November 7th. Today they just kicked off their press conference, and this is what Tim Bradley had to say. I understand that Brandon is going to be ready for this fight, but you know me. I embrace a challenge. The new guidance of Teddy Atlas and my work ethic, I think we're going to come out of camp and be in tremendous shape for this fight because there's no other way to be, especially for a guy like Bradley-Rios, end quote. Now, what obviously stood out the most in that statement with Tim Bradley is him bringing up his new trainer, Teddy Atlas. We all know that he just split up with his longtime trainer, Joel Diaz. They've pretty much been together since the beginning of Tim Bradley's career. And after hearing Joel Diaz do an interview, he explained why they split up. I guess basically because Joel Diaz, now with him being as popular as he is, he's getting a lot of fighters that's coming to him and hiring him. So it's making it difficult for Joel Diaz to train all these other fighters and then give Tim Bradley the same amount of time that he was giving him before. Joel Diaz, he said that, it was just a couple days, not even a whole lot of days, but it was just a couple days that he couldn't train Tim Bradley. And Tim Bradley, he felt that he needed someone to be training him exclusively with no interruptions. So that's the reason why they split up. Now, when I first heard about the split up, I think this was on everyone's mind. Number one, how does a couple like Tim Bradley and Joel Diaz split up, who's been together for so long, and it seemed like they had the best relationship in the business? That's the first question, right? The second question was, how do you replace a Joel Diaz? How do you find someone that's going to give you that same type of chemistry and is going to push you to the limit like Joel Diaz would? And we got the answer to our question. I mean, there's not too many trainers that can replace such a great trainer like Joel Diaz. But I got to tell you, Teddy Atlas is a hell of a pick. That's a hell of a choice, ain't it? I mean, someone who is really going to push you, someone who really understands the sweet science of the sport. That's a pretty good pick. And even though it's yet to be seen, I truly believe that this is going to be a great relationship between Bradley and Teddy Atlas. I really do. Now, when it comes to this fight, Bradley versus Bradley-Rios, before I would say this is an extremely easy fight for Tim Bradley. And I'm still picking Tim Bradley to win this fight in impressive fashion. I just believe the fight is more competitive after watching Tim Bradley get rocked by Jesse Vargas, who's not really known for his power. Knowing that Tim Bradley, every now and then, he can fight on the inside a little too long. But it's not even so much of fighting on the inside too long, because Tim Bradley, he knows how to box, right? And I believe he's going to know when to turn it off and turn it on when it comes to this fight. The biggest concern when it comes to Tim Bradley is his scar tissue. Because like I tell people before, in the Jesse Vargas fight, he didn't get hit that much. In fact, it was a very impressive win by Tim Bradley. You had this tall, young, undefeated prospect, and here Tim Bradley is. He's short. He's fighting against a guy who has a great jab, and Tim Bradley is taking away the jab from the taller guy, and eventually Tim Bradley is out-jabbing the jabber, right? While being the aggressor and backing up him. Because Jesse Vargas, we all know, he promised to be the aggressor. But it was Tim Bradley that was the aggressor, and it was Tim Bradley that was the boxer. The only problem is, like I was telling you, Tim Bradley's scar tissue. Jesse Vargas, he hardly ever hit Tim Bradley, but yet Tim Bradley's face swelled up like he was in there with Ruslan Provodnikov. Okay? So I feel as long as Tim Bradley's face holds up and he doesn't go in there doing something completely ridiculous, leaving himself wide open, fighting on the inside, giving Brandon Rios his best chance, I think that Tim Bradley, he wins this fight. But there may be some scares in this fight for Tim Bradley. Okay? Now, when it comes to Brandon Rios, he obviously has a chance of winning this fight. He's going to have to obviously sharpen up on his boxing ability, because just going in there like old school Bam Bam, that gives you a chance to win, but it doesn't give you your best chance to win. Bam Bam, he has an underrated jab, and I think if he uses that jab, it may help him set up those big shots that he likes to land, but he has to be consistent with the jab. But overall, like I told you guys, I'm picking Tim Bradley to win this fight. And, there's a lot of fights that could be made with Tim Bradley. Obviously, he's staying with Top Rank, so you got Saddam Ali, who actually was supposed to be Tim Bradley's mandatory. That was supposed to be the opponent that Tim was supposed to face. I guess he's going to have to wait in line and be next. And then you also have Kell Brook, a fight that they were trying to negotiate as well, but they end up settling for Brandon Rios. Let me go ahead and read you guys what Brandon Rios had to say at the press conference. Quote, "I'm ready to fight. I probably wasn't on their list, but I'm here now. I'm ready to go. I will be well prepared, and you will see the best Brandon Rios as you did against Alvarado." End quote. Now, I don't know, when it comes to the Alvarado fight, I don't know if you can attribute that to Brandon Rios just putting on his best performance, or Mike Alvarado putting on his worst performance, right? So, it's pretty hard to gauge in a fight like that, because it looked like Mike Alvarado, he had nothing left. So we're going to really get to see what Brandon Rios, or which Brandon Rios shows up with him going up against pound for pound one of the best fighters in the world. That's all I got for now. I'm on to the next one.